What's up, folks? Welcome back to another edition of SHU Outdoors. My name is Mick. I'm your host, and today we're going to review urban survival bags, train hopping bags, urban camping bags. I don't refer to this bag or the bag that this gentleman is fixing to do a loadout on, and we're going to do a review on it. He's a professional train hopper, squatter. Him and I have a lot in common, so I intend to review several of his videos and as the channel unwinds. A very interesting dude, and he does I think a very good job at having a really good, necessary, lightweight loadout. I'd probably change a few things. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, and maybe do a thing or two different. But I tell you what, he does a pretty good job of it. So without further ado, let's go ahead on and get into it.
What's going on, guys? This is Ben from Fish Plug Forge once again. I'm in the park, not far from my house, right next to the tracks. Should be leaving in a couple days for this journey to Wisconsin to go make some swords, axes, and sledgehammers. But I woke up a couple days ago with a bit of a tickle in my throat, so the trip's postponed until I feel a little bit better. So if I cough, that's the explanation for that. I wanted to go over today what I'm going to be carrying with me on this trip, which is kind of a medium loadout. I'm only be gone for a little bit less than a month, but I wanted to be comfortable, so I'm bringing a full-size camping backpack. I've got that on me right now. Step back, turn around really quick, do a little pirouette, and I'm going to go through what I've got with me.
And the size of backpack plays a big part in what you're going to go do. I got a staging area over in my home, and probably on the next video I'll have you over there with me, show you what I'm working with, why I got it indoors. Most of it is a climate control type of items. I have a whole nother area outside with a whole bunch of other stuff in it. Yeah, but I have like basically three types of bags, either packed out or partially packed out or getting changed out at any given time. I have the 50 liter pack with the chest rig, the waist rig, all that on it. And that is for if I was going to be more in the back country and really need to take everything I would need with me or be able to have what would be necessary to forge it in the wild. The backpack here that I have is in my opinion, a perfectly designed urban survival train hopping city camping backpack. Super lightweight, because if you're in a city, you can go super lightweight because you have an abundant amount of resources with you. If I was going to be homeless or out in the streets, I would definitely be in a big city. For sure. And I'd be in a big city that had access to resources, and that's the reason why I would be there. So let's go ahead and get back into it.
That's a 45-liter Arc'teryx camping bag with a few alterations. This model is discontinued. I got it the year after they changed the name for this one, so I got it on sale, deeply discounted. Otherwise, I might not have gotten this one because it had mesh side pockets when I first got it. And of course, like I mentioned in another video, those blew out within the first year of being out on the road because having steel canteens and these mesh pockets just rubbing up against trains, throwing it off the moving stock, and crawling through the brush. Those are just going to blow out. So those have been replaced. I sewed on some 1,000 denier Cordura. There is a bit of heavy bungee here up at the top that helps things cinch up. And these have been sewn into place for years now. I've had this pack for, I think, 7 or 8 years. I took it backpacking around Europe. That's sewn together with black artificial sinew, which is pretty damn bomb-proof stuff. You can find it in most leatherworking departments. It's really thick, continuous strands of fiber, a lot like dental floss, but much thicker. You can peel that.
Dental floss will
strands. Train coming by. Apropos. CSX. A lot of coil cars. And this is the trash train heading north, empty towards Philly. Pause this for a second and come back. All right, that's funny. Train's gone now. So that's the first big alteration that was done to this pack. It's been to hell and back.
As this channel on wines, I intend to get into how I made an expert tattoo machine in prison. I made a living off of it. I got my whole back did with it. Does some of the most crisp, neat, fine line work you could possibly ever imagine. Hits perfectly every time. Literally made a living with it for years and years. I'm going to share that info with you here on this channel, because, each one teaches one, and, I show love, and also I'm going to get into how I made wine in prison. All right. Excellent wine, fire wine. All right, couple of cups of it. You're feeling okay. Watch a football game, have a good time, type of thing. Maybe smoke an outlaw cigarette or something. So yeah, we're going to get into all that type of stuff on this channel as time passes and it goes by. And the channel on wines, it's a relatively young channel, and I tell you, one of the things that you could do to help it the most is hit that like and subscribe button. It surely would help the channel immensely, and I would greatly appreciate it. So yeah.
I recommend getting the real military issue one. You never know when you need to open a can, and it doesn't weigh much of anything. Just stick it inside your wallet. They will pop open if you put them on your keychain, so there's some chance that the little hook will pop out and then put a hole in your pocket. So I never carry it on.
He's talking about something like this.
Put it in with a little Velcro pocket inside of my wallet. I'm carrying also.
Also have this mini multi-purpose tool. Works like a champ. Small. I spray painted it orange quite some time ago, and I've used it and it's rubbed off, but I did that in case I ever dropped it. I'd have a good chance of being able to find it pretty easy on the ground. And then the glitter from maybe the sun or whatever. Corkscrew, you never know when you'll need that. A little bitty blade over here, because this is so old the blade fell out of it, but I still do have a few things straight from the Philippines or China. But I got some things in there. They're kind of hard to get to. They like to stay put, it seems, but that's okay. Got a bottle opener. Sometimes that comes in real handy. And a little blade, corkscrew, can opener. Those are invaluable when you're on the road and you're doing serious urban survival for sure. So let's go ahead on and get back into it. See if we can stay focused.
Bracelets. This is called a GTFO. It's an elastic band with a few tungsten beads. It's a glass breaker for getting out of, say, a car. You get into a wreck.
I have one in my bag also.
Tool.
I agree.
And I don't make that one. You can find those online. GTFO. Look for the real one. I know maybe Searpick. ITS carries them. Imminent Threat Solutions and a few other brands should carry them as well. This is a stash bracelet that I made for myself, and now they're
ingenious
on my website. It's a bit of leather folded into thirds.
Pitch Black Forge.
Come with
That's his website.
Polymer liner on the inside, so if you put any tiny tools in here, like shims or a tiny key, then they won't imprint on the leather on the outside. You put that behind the polymer, but it's also big enough to put a single tightly folded bill in case you get robbed or some other horrible thing happens. I've at least got $50 on my wrist at all times. So those are neat. I've got what else? Carrying a necklace. It's also made for self-defense. Handmade brass beads on a 950-pound Kevlar cord. I make these called the Last Resort necklace, and they are that. It's a holdout weapon. It's a flail in an emergency. Just a last-ditch effort to defend yourself. If you got one and you think you're going to get into an altercation, put it in your pocket and let the string hang out the side. You don't want to get strangled by your own necklace. And I usually have a knife inside my waistband as well that I make called the Gaijin Shuriken, but that is right now strapped to this backpack because I make a couple different sheaths for them. I've got one that tucks inside my belt, and there's another one clipped onto the backpack.
Let's get into it, homie. Burning daylight.
But that should last absolutely for fucking ever. That's a bunch of stuff that I've made. I also always carry a wristwatch. Blue,
That's a good call.
antacid, headache pills and stuff. But this is a tourniquet put together with a rubber band, Sharpie for marking the time. I always carry one of these in my everyday carry bag. There's C-pack gauze and a compression bandage that both have coagulating agents in them. So if I get really badly hurt, a little bit of coat wrap in here for helping secure those things a little bit better, and a couple gloves. The gloves aren't.
He got a pretty good loadout when it comes to his basic medical.
You know,
that's important. Me and him have a lot of the same items in our,
so I got
a little medical bag.
This is a Mystery Ranch bag. I was looking for one that was real bright, so I can grab it anytime, even if I need to tell someone else what to look for in my bag really quick. It's top zipper.
Another great idea.
There you go. Bandana, blaze orange, uses a signal. It's got some reflectors on it. Mostly this is just a tie on the outside of my backpack. Uses a sweat rag. Tie on the outside of the pack if I get stuck walking somewhere like along.
What I do on this bag, I leave this bag like this. All right. And I got 2 lime green camo type bandanas that I sewed together, and I always carry a couple of safety pins with me when I'm on the road, right? And if I'm ever in a situation where I need to get more camoed out, I can just put it right here at the top, you know, and then safety pin it all around, cover this up, go be much more camo. When I'm roaming around in the city, I'd rather have a bag that looks like a sports type bag. And I also devised a system where I can carry all my bedding inside the bag. Super lightweight. All right. Why? Because if I'm in an urban area, I can go super lightweight. Now, I have a golden rule. If it is my stuff and I need it for survival purposes, it stays on my back. So that being the case, I need something that's, you know, between 14 and 16, 17 pounds any given hour of any given day when I'm moving about. You know, and we'll get into that tomorrow on the next episode. We'll get into what's in this bag. This guy does an excellent review of his bag, and I would say he's probably a seasoned train hopper, seasoned squatter. So without further ado, let's go ahead on and get back into it.
I weigh just as a little bit of a safety measure so I don't get hit by a car. There's tiny regular first aid kit, just Band-Aids, little medical tape, ibuprofen. That's
got the same thing, actually.
This had metal zipper pulls on it when I got it. The backpack did. I clipped those off with a pair of Dykes, set diagonal wire cutters, and replaced all the zipper pulls with thin cordage with knots on the end. I know this bag pretty well, so I can open it up in the dark. But if I need to find it in the dark, there is one glow marker on the outside.
Another thing I like with my bags is I like them to be roomy, but with really only 2 or 3, 4 pockets on them. Now, on this bag, as opposed to what he was saying, I did a 14-day challenge with this bag, and it did get a little nip here, okay? But other than that, it held pretty good, and it didn't blow out. I like for my bags, like I say, to be pretty lightweight, as light as the situation I'm getting myself into allows for, and mobile as possible, and more like if you saw me walking down the street with this bag on and I didn't have any attachments on it, maybe just a thermos and a cup on one side and maybe an umbrella on the other side, you wouldn't really think too much of it. It wouldn't look like I was necessarily squatting or camping or anything like that, right? So that's my whole philosophy when it comes to urban survival bags, train jumping bags, etc. You know, I want to be invisible when I want to be invisible, and just look like another guy walking down the street when I want to appear just like another guy walking down the street. Let's get into it.
It's an old D20 if you're playing D&D. I drilled a hole in and put a lanyard on. So I need to find my stuff in the dark. I can just charge that with a flashlight, or just from being out here in the sun, it'll glow for several hours after nightfall. And if I don't want to be noticed by this thing at all, even though it's up against my neck, I can just take it off of the grab handle. All right.
That's a good idea to put a glow-in-the-dark item on your backpack flashlight. So you can see it in the night if you got a stash.
This is a stream light, tactical flashlight. I mentioned this before. It's nice to have one really good flashlight. It's got 2 settings. It doesn't have a flash, but it has a high beam and regular. Even the regular is pretty damn bright. They come with like a belt clip or a pocket clip, and I've never liked those things very much. They always end up failing on me.
You know, there was a time when I felt it was necessary to carry 2 or 3 different lighting items. I have 2 forms of like illuminated light with me. I have a small wind-up radio that also works on AAA batteries that actually winds up and holds a charge. It also is charges with the sun, and it actually works. AM, FM, shortwave. I carry that with me. It also doubles as a charger, and it actually will absorb the sun and hold a charge and then relay it to your phone. Or you can have your phone charged up while it's in the sun charging. Just put a towel or something over your phone, so you know no point in having your screen exposed to the bright sun any more than necessary. But yeah, and then I have a headlamp. Okay, I don't have to have the headlamp on my head, but I can. Or I can hold it in my hand. So that's two illuminated lights that I carry. Usually I only use one, unless I'm really off in the backcountry somewhere. Then I'd have a fire going also. So yeah, but if I'm building an urban survival bag, I want it as lightweight as possible because I got access to fresh fruit stands. I got access to soup kitchens. I got access to hood grocery stores. I got access to corner stores, dollar cups of coffee, $1.25, $50, $1.50 slices of pizza. Especially, in New York, I know the spot. So, and other cities have the same thing if you know where to go and, look for them at. Let's go ahead and get back into it.
I don't trust them. So since I'm a knife maker and I make a lot of things, I made a small Kydex holster with a pull-the-dot soft loop. So it's got pretty damn perfect retention, and I can clip this onto my belt or onto the waist belt of the pack anytime I need to. So if you're not familiar with pull-the-dot snaps, they don't come undone accidentally. You have to orient this little dimple in the right direction, and then you can pop it open so it won't ever...
To me, it seems like an item that I don't really need, and a whole extra step that I don't need to take if I just got it right on my head, over my baseball cap or my hat or whatever, or just over my bald head, I can clip it on, clip it off, and see exactly wherever I'm looking at. When I get to camp and set camp up, bring my radio out for charging reasons or listening reasons or whatever. It is good to have a radio and also carry a deck of cards, because sometimes if you're in camp, it really keeps your morale high if you can play a game of solitary, listening to a little bit of talk radio or AM, FM radio, rock and roll, whatever, or shortwave if maybe a storm is blowing in or they're calling for rough weather. To have that option, and it's very small, winds up, super lightweight. I've devised a whole basically DIY urban survival bag. I designed it. You'll need a few bucks, but literally, if you are the kind of guy like I am, and you got all kind of stuff at your house, there's a good chance with a minimum investment you can design a bag like this that will be a phenomenal urban survival bag. And I'm going to get into all that as this channel unwinds. I did do about 25 years in prison, but, since I was a young adolescent. So I say that to say, yeah, this SHU Outdoors is named SHU Outdoors. It's a prison related content show. But it's more than that, because when I wasn't in prison, I was squatting in abandoned buildings, hopping trains, going around the country, lived in many places before I ended up in New York City, and stayed there for about 25 years. That was my base of operations anyway, for 25 years or so. And so, it's a prison-related content, but it also has a lot of urban survival, squatting in abandoned buildings, camping out in parks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, punk rock shows. So that whole lifestyle was a part of my life for, decades, and so that's what this show is going to be about. Yes, primarily prison-related content, story time, etc. But I want to add a little bit of extra stuff to it. So I would anticipate the next 2 or 3 videos are going to be more about urban survival bags, not necessarily bug out bags. Urban survival bags, train hopping bags, how to build those alternative bags as opposed to just quote unquote a bug out bag. A specific bag that will really help you out a whole lot if you find yourself in that situation. I'm giving this away for free. And am I an expert, quote unquote? Well, I don't know the school that specializes in, urban survival tactics, techniques, psychology, bag building that would, allow me to earn, a bachelor's degree in the topic. But I'm about as close to an expert as you're going to find here on YouTube who specializes in that type of content. So without further ado, let's get ahead and get back into it.
Accidentally come undone on you. Yeah, good flashlight. Radio, which is a new thing for me, and it's on from this morning.
Excellent idea.
Toiletries, toothbrush, soap, that sort of thing. I got a little pair of clippers since I like to keep my head shaved. I found a pair that just have a lever on them and not a button, so they won't accidentally turn on. Another glow marker. If I need to stash my stuff off trail, sometimes I'll charge one of these things, throw it in the weeds where I can see it, but it wouldn't be easily noticed by someone else, so I know where to head off trail to go find my stuff that's been stashed in the brush. It doesn't weigh much of anything, so it's worth having. Book light, something almost no one else would carry. It's nice to have a secondary light source.
Book light,
mostly used,
but I don't usually carry
I read a damn lot. And speaking of books, they're down in another pocket, but this is electronic stuff in a Tyvek envelope. This is just a shipping envelope, but they're waterproof. They're pretty damn tough.
And that reminds me, I intend to do a book review on one of my favorite authors of all time by the name of Andrew Vaucus. He wrote a really, really great book called Down in the Zero. I'll do that in some later episode, not in the near future, but in the future. I think, like I said, I'm going to focus on, some survival, but urban survival. You know what I mean? Like urban street living, urban squatting, urban camping, how to build bags to just do super cool stuff with, much bigger than just quote unquote a bug out bag.
I've got a power bank, extra Ziploc bag to put my phone in, and a bunch of charging cables that are all put together with a piece of Velcro. Also got
all necessary
earbuds in there for listening to the scanner without anyone else being able to hear it. Just common sense, noise discipline stuff. Stuff these things back in here real quick. Making a damn mess in the woods. Yeah, so I know I'm going to have to be careful about the scanner turning on accidentally in my bag. I need to find a solution for that, but I haven't had it long enough to work something out. Take the floating lid off, and
my little AM/FM shortwave radio wind-up solar joint that I was describing earlier. It's got a button in it. I don't know why they put it on there. It's called an alarm, right? So if you're not careful and you accidentally move it around, I had to design like a piece of cardboard that I could tape over it so it couldn't accidentally ever get pushed in. I had that happen to me one time, man. I posted a short about it too. Also, it happened again here too. I was moving through some area and it started going woo. So that's a learning experience. So hopefully you don't have to make that mistake.
Underneath here, there's a compression strap that puts this front kangaroo pocket over the top, and I'll lash my hoodie, whatever, extra jacket or rain gear I've got under here, so it's secured. But I'm wearing the hoodie right now. So inside, kangaroo pocket, which zips down the front. Inside the kangaroo pocket. It's another Tyvek envelope. This is a priority mail one from the post office. It's where I started getting them years ago. I've been using these things for organizing for absolutely ever. They're free. They're tough. They're water repellent. Small notebook. Couple pens, red and black, for taking notes, both on trains and just my thoughts.
Let me tell you something about a notebook and a pencil and a pen. I do the same thing. Now, truth is, I don't use it all day, every day. But occasionally, you'll find yourself in a position where you're going to need to remember something, a precise address or something that you don't want to forget, but you may not remember. That's when one of them little small spiral. I carry one of the little small, and I'll show you all this on the next episode. So I miniaturize a lot of things, and a lot of things, if you're in an urban environment, you don't need to carry on your back. I want to carry everything I need to set up a little micro mini camp, recharge my batteries, be comfortable, and keep my morale high so I can keep going. One of the biggest things about any kind of my little boy here is meowing. Oh, what's up, little buddy babies? Yeah. Why are you crying? Come here. Come here. Get in the shot, little buddy baby. Oh, you got to get right here. This is my little son, Whitey Whiskers. His government issue name is Felony. His sister's name is Misdemeanor. But we affectionately refer to him as Whitey Whiskers, and he is the coolest little guy. Okay, I will let him tell you a few more. But let's go ahead and get back into it. How'd you get him in the shot, man?
No dollars with a nondescript cover. I made the cover for this out of Tyvek as well, so it's got a little bit of a water repellent cover on it. Not as likely to get fucked up. The book I'm currently reading, which I'll probably finish today before I leave, so I got to pick something else to take with me. This is All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. This works awesome. And this is a schematic for a sword that I've already made once that I'm going to make again.
He also operates he's a blacksmith. He makes swords and knives.
One-to-one, with notes on.
And quite unfortunately, he hasn't put out any content in over a year. Pitch Black Forge. If you're into this lifestyle, train hopping, urban survival, urban squatting in abandoned buildings, whatever it takes to stay alive and do so relatively comfortably on like a micro mini scale, this is the channel for you. Okay, if you want to hear all kind of wild prison stories, this is the channel for you. Okay, if you're into rock and roll, punk rock, it doesn't matter to me. Rap, whatever, man, if you got a rebel soul, rebel spirit, you love to explore, see new things, see what's over the horizon, on the other side of the mountain, on the other side of the ocean. This is a channel for you, okay?
Thickness and balance. So I have I've got photos of that in my phone as well, but it's nice to have a physical copy. Nice to go analog, but you can. I've got maps of all the train routes that I'm taking at the house, but it's pretty kind of large.
Research when you're train hopping is a big thing, and I would also recommend, if you're going to go train hopping, always have yourself a really good compass. That way you can always see if the train tracks are running north, south, northeast, southwest, and it could change as you're going down the track, but at least you'll have an idea of which way the train is running. And, you know, anywhere is better than here. So if you can get a bead, okay, these tracks are running whatever way, okay, and even if you got to get on a track going the other way, there's a good chance if you go long enough, you'll come across a yard and be able to catch one somewhere else. Worst case scenario, you have to double back to where you started from and then move in a different direction. But having that compass will help you out a whole lot if you ever find yourself in a train hopping position. Man, I've hopped, I would say probably a realistic number, 65 to 85 different trains. Yeah, it was about, you know, I'm going to date myself here. I'm 56 years old, so I'm going to say, you know, when I was about 17 or whatever, I started traveling, jumping around coast to coast, LA, San Francisco, all that stuff way back in the day, train hopping, riding buses, right? And then all the way back to the East Coast. But I went through like Louisiana, from South Carolina all the way through to Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, all the way down by the southern border, right? And I landed in Los Angeles downtown. Stayed there for a couple of days, bumming around, camping out when I, you know, was much younger, obviously, about, you know, and then I got back on a bus, a Greyhound bus, went to Hollywood, stayed there for about a week. It just never really caught on to me. And then I went to San Francisco, stayed there for about 6 or 8 months. I liked it. It was a cool city at that time. Could have changed now for all I know. But at the time, it was a cool city. I knew how to ride the bus from down Market Street to Tenderloin area. You got to get on a bus and ride, you know, not a huge distance, but, you know, a distance to get to the Golden Gate Park. And at that time, there were still hippies and bongo drums and all that stuff, man, going on over there. Yeah, right there. I don't forget the name of the street, but it's right there at Golden Gate Park. There was a supermarket. And then I got back on hop trains and rode a few buses, a couple of different distances, going back up through the north, you know, part of United States, you know, all through Montana, all hit Chicago, came back through and landed in New York. True story. And I had lived all over the cool cities in the Southeast. Myrtle Beach used to be a super cool city back when they were still doing like Girls Gone Wild type of spring break. Came down to Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Daytona Beach. It was really, really cool. And look, this is a cool guy. He does an excellent review. My next episode is going to be a review of this bug out bag. And I can guarantee you something. This bug out bag is a hardcore urban survival bug out bag. Everything you need, absolutely. Nothing you don't. Super lightweight. Everything a miniature, micro, designed for when you do make a camp, you can make a very comfortable, relaxing micro mini camp almost in any urban environment if you can just get in a little bit of cut. One of the cool things about New York, if you get in a park where off in the cut somewhere, you can definitely make a camp even if you're not in quote unquote the cut. So until next time, folks, appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Stay up. Peace. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, I sure would appreciate it if you would. Thanks. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Peace.